hour or so, joining us as he's making his way home, I think, after a long day at the old Gallagher-Iba, is Scott Sutton, and assistant basketball coach at Oklahoma State, former Cowboy standout as well. And we got a bunch of things I want to get to, Scott, but let's kind of start with and what do you and your family know about when the induction in the Hall of Fame is going to come up, if it's going to come up? Do we know anything more than we did maybe a couple of months ago?
Well, probably not. You know, they had pushed it back till this fall, late fall. I can't remember. I think it was October or maybe early November, and then obviously as we got close and the COVID didn't spread of COVID didn't slow down, they made a decision to push it back to the spring, and hopefully that will happen. Obviously a lot will depend on the vaccine and how COVID, what happens between now and April or May. But as of right now, it's tentatively scheduled sometime in late April, I believe. And I guess
there's always a chance that it could be virtual, I guess. Everything's virtual in this day and age anymore.
I think
what have you and the family or have you even, thrown out some ideas of what are we going to do, how are we going to handle it? I know the ideal thing would to be there with him. I mean, that would be the ideal thing, and that's not going to happen. But any virtual ideas, or is it just too early for you guys to get into that?
I mean, I guess everything's still on the table, and they can't keep postponing it. So eventually they're going to have to make a decision. I would be surprised if they, because of what type of class it is. With Kobe and whoever else. I can't remember all the guys and ladies, but it was such a great class, and I would think they'd want to have it in person because it will. A lot of people will be watching it, especially mainly for Kobe. So I think they'll do everything possible to have it in person. You just don't know. You can't predict what's going to happen with COVID, and hopefully we'll get through this winter, and as spring approaches, more people will be immune and take the vaccine, and maybe we can get this thing be able to take place.
And of course, there's no question you'd like to have as many family members as you can, but that's also who knows how many will be allowed and all that. So I guess we're kind of spinning around the circle here. But the main thing is it's going to take place, and the main thing is your dad will be recognized.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. And he, I know there's a lot of people, a lot of people in Stillwater, Oklahoma State alums, and Arkansans, and even Kentucky people, and people across the country that were so thrilled. And obviously we got a lot of calls and letters, and obviously very deserving. We talked about it back when it happened. It's a shame that this didn't happen 5, 6, 10 years ago. He wouldn't have been able to be able to go out there and give a great speech and tell a lot of stories and thank the people that helped him away. And obviously Mr. Iva was probably the most important figure in his life as far as basketball is concerned.
Yeah, and this is just a personal thing, but the storytelling is what I would miss. I mean, there's no telling what he would say and how he would say it, and maybe some of it would be true, and maybe some of it wouldn't be. But as we well know,
you never know.
As we well know, but he always made him sound that way. So even as close as I was, sometimes I had to go, "Is that right? Did that really happen?" And your mom, God bless her.
My mom would call him out on it.
She'd say, Eddie, that's not true. Oh, man, we used to miss that a lot. Okay, let's jump into basketball now. Got a couple of days before you head to Manhattan. And this is kind of an off-the-cuff thing. You have absolutely no control of it. And I guess this is true any game, but, the virus is kind of taking a bite out of something in Manhattan here the last couple of days, and you wonder Do you guys wonder whether you're actually going to get on that bus and head up there or not?
I didn't hear anything. I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
TD, what happened?
Well, other than I think the women's program has had some problems.
Oh, okay.
Now, that doesn't mean the men's program's going to have any problems. I mean, that doesn't necessarily follow
I thought
suit.
you knew something I didn't.
No, sir, I don't. No. But
well, you never know. You got to be ready for anything. And I know you got to be versatile, and there's going to be some cancellations. I mean, you have to think. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that we've made it this far and not had, once we got the schedule done, that we haven't had any cancellations. And you just hope that we can get through the weekend and get this game played and go on to next week. But all we can do is control what our young men and our staff and support staff do, and we try to do our best to, mask up and stay out of crowds. And so far we've done a good job.
By Wednesday, you would certainly have put Monday night's game out in the rearview mirror. And if you stay in the game long enough, you're going to see both sides of this fence. There's no doubt in my mind. But give us a general idea how the kids bounce back when you finally got them back in the gym. I guess that would have been Tuesday, or did you give them Tuesday off? I don't know.
We took Tuesday off.
Okay.
It was the first day that we had been off since we came back from Christmas. I think it was 10 or 11 days. And obviously playing twice in 3 days, I think it was smart. I mean, obviously it was a crushing loss. I mean, it's a game, and I've been a part of, I'm not sure how many, but for 25 years, and even going back as a kid watching my dad's teams, it was one of the more crushing defeats that I've been a part of, and I know our staff and players, and I'm sure our fans feel the same way. Got to give West Virginia credit. We did some things that we got away from what built us the lead, and that was really good defense and when we could get rebounds, get out and run and attack them in the fast break, and allowed us to build a 19-point lead. And then I don't know if we were relaxed with 11 minutes left, but that's a prideful bunch. Bob Huggins, there's a reason he'll be in the Hall of Fame, and we knew he wasn't going to quit, and he wasn't going to let his players quit. And we were probably 2 or 3 minutes away from probably the game being over. But they hit a couple threes, cut to 13. All of a sudden, wow! And then we just kind of, like I said, got away from how we played and how we built the lead, and obviously very, very disappointing. It's now our second game at home that we kind of let slip away, and you can't do that very often in this league and expect to finish in the top 3 or 4, and that's what our goal is. And I think we're good enough. I thought, TD, the first 29 minutes the other day was probably the best basketball that Oklahoma State basketball team has played, at least since I have been back the last 4 years. And I thought we had an identity. I thought our guys, they were fun to watch. They got up and down and attacked in transition and played like we want them to play. And we are fast and athletic. And when you have 2-point guards, possibly even 3 with Avery out there, you can do that. So we came back. Our guys were good today. We watched film. We put that behind us and turned our attention to Kansas State. And that's one thing that Coach Boynton is terrific at. He's going to tell them the truth, and he's going to say what he thought about the other night, but that's it. We're going to turn the page, and we got a big game Saturday evening.
One of the things that seems, and I know it drives you guys crazy, and it would drive any coach crazy, really, but there seems to be a recurring theme. We've gotten away with it a couple of times this year and won games, but playing with the lead, at least in my opinion, and you may disagree, is not the long, strong suit of this team. And if I had to go back to 100 times I heard your dad talk about the difference in playing from behind and playing even or playing with the lead, and there's definitely differences.
Well, there's no question. And, we've given up some leads, and I guess every game we've lost, we've had the lead. And that's the good news, and also the bad news. And also the good news is 3 games we've lost have been 1-possession games, but you're going to see half your games in the Big 12 most likely are probably going to be 1-possession games, if not more. And we have to do a better job playing with the lead and extending that lead. And then if you get the chance to put somebody away, you got to put them away. And how you do that is continue to play the same way that helped you get that lead. And that's taking care of the ball. Where when they made the comeback right at the very beginning of the 19-point deficit, I think we turned the ball over like 3 straight times. And you just can't do that. You have to continue to have great offense possessions. And then where you really can put a team away, and this, is on the defensive end, is make it hard for them to score. If they go on a 6-0 run, go get a kill, which we call a kill, is getting 3 stops in a row, and to stop their momentum. And it's just kind of a perfect storm there tonight, both offensively and defensively. We weren't very good the last 10 minutes of the game.
And now we're starting to add up all the things that can stop a run, but run a good play. If you don't get the bucket, get fouled and go hit 2 free throws, and
that's right.
That stops a run.
Get the ball inside.
Yeah,
get the ball inside. And then we talked a lot about that. Coach wants to shoot threes. I think in today's game, you probably have to shoot threes, but we want them to be good threes that we feel comfortable with. And most of the time, those are come off inside-out action. Get the ball in the paint either on the pass or on the drive. Get the ball reversed, and then inside-out passes for step-in threes are a much higher percentage shot than 1-pass threes or 0-pass threes off the dribble.
Do you guys adhere to the, and I keep going back to your dad, but you and I were joking about this the other day. If you can hit this shot 50% of the time, that's fine, take it. If you can only hit it 20% of the time, I don't want you shooting it. Do you guys adhere to that?
I do.
I know you do.
Use it the last 18 years when I was a head coach. I certainly did, and you try to teach them, and Coach doesn't say that exactly, but you try to teach them what a good shot is, and that a good shot for a certain player may not be a good shot for somebody else. That's just life. It's not fair. And if you want to prove that you can hit that shot consistently, you got to put in the work, and you got to show us every day in practice. And it's been a bit concerning, because we thought we were a much better 3-point shooting team coming into the season, and that's obviously it's hurt us. And free throws have hurt us. 3 losses we've had, we haven't shot free throws well, and that's something we have to correct. And believe me, we work on it every single day. We put them in pressure situations where they have to step up and make free throws, and hopefully that will continue. That will pay off in time, because as you know, you're missing free throws in close games, turnovers in close games, and marginal shots or the bad shots. It's a recipe to get you beat.
I think we've in the 3 losses we've missed 26 free throws, and we've lost 3 games by 7 points. So not a great mathematician, but I could figure a few more go in here or there, and we're not talking about 3 losses. But
no, and you're talking about a team that's, even if you don't take Texas, because obviously Texas is a really good team, and they're number 4 in the country, and they went to Allen Fieldhouse and won by 25. But you win those 2 home games, which we should have. I mean, if you play those scenarios over 10 times, you're going to win both those games 9 out of 10 times, in my opinion. And you're 9-1, and you're probably in the top 15, if not the top 10 in America. That's where we'd be. And, it's ifs and buts, but we're trying to get across to our guys. Guys, we're a good basketball team. We just have to finish. We have to play for 40 minutes. We can't play for 30 minutes or 38 minutes. And, the one thing, and I just say this about coaches' teams over the last few years, we've gotten better as the season gone along, and we're a better team right now than we've ever been in the 4 years I've been here. So I expect this team to continue to improve throughout this season. And I think, again, 3 losses, you dug yourself a hole again. Who knows how many games Kansas and Baylor's going to lose or Texas is going to lose. But I still certainly think that this team can finish in the top, 4 or 5 in their league.
it is another fine line, too. And before we leave the shooting topic, you guys have all kinds of data. I mean, coming out of practice, you got those computer things and the tags they wear and the ball and all that. So you know who's making shots, who's not making shots, where they're making it from, all the things you have to look at on a printout. But doesn't it eventually come down to the fact that, you don't want to tell somebody, I don't want you to shoot, but it's got to be a politically correct way of saying, I want you to shoot, but I'm not exactly thrilled when you shoot. That's probably a little too harsh, but how do you get around that?
No, it is a fine line, and my dad, as you know, and I was probably similar, maybe not quite to his level, but he would tell you, and this is not a playing time, and freedom to shooting is not democracy, and I determined that, and one thing Coach has done, and I give him credit, he wants his guys, our guys, to have a great deal of confidence. And it is a fine line, and I think he's doing a good job of telling them this is a good shot. This is why this is a good shot. That's not a real high percentage shot, and we just have to continue to do that. And you do that by in practice, and you do that in watching film, and our guys will get there. Kelvin Sampson, I thought, had a great quote, or I saw somewhere on Twitter or somewhere. He said, I don't want to give bad shooters confidence, and it's nothing personal, but I don't want to give those guys confidence, and not that some of these guys are shooting, because we have confidence, and Keelan Boone's a much better shooter than he's shown. Rondell Walker, and obviously Farron Flavors, we recruited him to be a dead-eye shooter, and none of those guys have shot the ball as well as we expected. We just have to continue to, preach taking good shots and continue to get those guys in the gym and put in the extra work.
One thing we didn't have to worry about you when you were playing here, though, was telling you, whether you should shoot or
Heck no. I knew I wouldn't be in the game much longer if I shot the ball, CD. It was either pass the ball to Big Country, Brooks, or Randy, or you can come sit by me.
So it was pretty well spelled out for you.
I knew my role very well.
There was no intrigue involved there, so we didn't have to worry about you as much. What about this Kansas State team? You and I have texted back and forth, and we talked about it yet last night. But, they're coming off. They have some deficiencies, like every team has deficiencies. Their biggest deficiency is the fact they don't have enough experience in the starting lineup, mm-hmm. Probably. They have some potential there. This is not the Kansas State teams of, Brown and Stokes and who am I leaving out? Dean Wade. I mean, this is not Kansas State of that. But at the same time, you worry about them growing up one day when you're playing them, I guess.
Well, they've. You're right. The biggest problem is they're young. They start 3 freshmen, true freshmen. I think they play 4 or 5, and so obviously in this league with that much youth, it's going to be a challenge every night. And unless you're freshmen or McNeil's All-Americans, which at K-State, a lot like us, with the exception of Cade, it's hard to get those type of players to be able to come in and kind of carry a team as a freshman. But the scary thing is I think they're getting. I know they're getting better. Bruce Weber is a really, really good coach, and very good defensive coach, very good half-court motion set type coach. And you watched the game last night, and it was I think a 1-point game and a half or 2-point game and a half at Texas Tech, and then Tech kind of spurted out and I think took a 17-point lead.
Yeah, right.
K-State fought back. They fought back and cut it to 7, and
then that technical kind of turned the game around. Yeah.
And then earlier in the year, I guess in mid-December, one of their first conference games, they go to Ames, and Iowa State's not a great team this year either. But you go on the road and win by double figures. I believe that's impressive. So. It's a team that we can't afford to take lightly, and we're not good enough to take anybody lightly. And coming off a game that obviously we felt like we should have won. I hope our guys are locked in and focused and understand that the importance of this game to go on the road. And although this year the road's a little bit different, I think that's why you're seeing, especially in the Big 12, that the road team has a great record so far. But you need to go get some road wins, and this would be another good one.
Yeah, you look down that line. I mean, there's a lot of road wins this year, and I've said this from day one. I mean, it's just use Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, it's a big difference of 1,000 people and 16,000 people who aren't necessarily saying nice things about you.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere. Texas Tech. I mean, that's a game the other day that would have been, probably extremely hard to win if they had, with that, whatever that arena seats, 15,000 or whatever it may be, and I think sometimes there's a little with this type of situation. And I played I've coached in the conference where a lot of times you didn't have great crowds, and I always thought when there was a bad crowd or the crowd wasn't very enthusiastic that the advantage went to the road team, because I always thought the road team was a little bit more locked in, a little bit more focused. They knew they had to bring their own energy and enthusiasm, and that's kind of what the bench provides. And I've seen that so far this year with this team. So I think we'll continue. I think we'll have a chance to win several more road games, but we just have to do a better job, obviously, of taking care of, games in Gallagher-Iba.
Just a real quick look. I think the road teams are like 12-6 this year, something like that. I think something like that here. Before we cut you loose here, we make too much of the fact that Weber coached Ice and Cade and know all about what they do?
I think so. I mean, maybe there's something there that he can draw back on, but what was that, been a year and a half ago? I don't think it's much of an advantage at all. I hope that, I don't know how they feel, but I would hope Cade and Ice, I guess Ice played against them twice last year, but I hope they would be a little bit more, maybe just that extra motivation to play against a coach that led them to a under 19 world championship. But I don't think either way it's much of anything.
And no matter if you know somebody or not, you better have the people to do something about it. And now, his guys are. This is not, again, it's not the Kansas State of a couple of years ago, but an important game nonetheless. I mean, I know you guys keep looking at one game at a time, one half at a time, but it would be a good way to set up that next week and you're not worried about next week, but I'm just pointing it out that, you got Kansas coming in on Tuesday and Oklahoma coming in on Saturday. So it'd be a good way to get the taste of the West Virginia game out of your mouth.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it's a game that, if you want to compete for, a top 3, top 4 spot in this league, it's a game you need to win because, Baylor's already been there and won. I mean, TCU's gone there and won. I would, it'd be a huge upset for them to beat Kansas or Texas at home or probably even Texas Tech. So it's a game that if you lose, you're kind of dropping one to the rest of the contenders. And, we've already lost a couple of home games. I think we've won one at Tech that, people are going to be hard to go in there and win, although they've lost 2 home games as well, one of them in Kansas. But it's a game we need to win. It's a game that if we want to expect to finish top 3 or 4, we need to go up there and take care of business and be excited about playing and try to play 40 minutes this time. Not just 30 or 35 or 38. We need to play 40 minutes and get a chance to put them away. We need to put them away.
Can you shed any light at this point on Alexander Moncrief's status? One way or the other?
He practiced today. He was really good. He came back and he had some X-rays on his chest. His chest is on. He took an elbow from Ice. I'm not sure. This was sometime last week, and he actually played with it at Tech, and I think it just kind of tightened up at the end of the Tech game when he had to sit out because of foul trouble, and or maybe he got hit again. I'm not sure, but I think he was a little bit concerned. Maybe there was something more there than just a bruise. But they did an X-ray and showed nothing was no serious problems. It's just, bruised and sore. And he came back, and I thought he had one of his better practices. He was good. So, unless something happens next 2 days, I think he'll be good to go.
Well, that sounds good. All hands on deck. That's what we need right here. Hey, I appreciate your time as always. And again, we harken back to that you were never a problem about deciding whether to shoot or not. We didn't have to set any parameters for you to shoot or not shoot.
Hey, one thing you can't say about I was a smart player. I knew my role, so I knew where the players were and who needed to take the shots, and I tried my best to get that ball to Country and Brooks and Randy.
And I will say this: when you did take a shot, though, you weren't bad. I'll give you that much credit. Now you know how much harder.
I had some decent games.
No, you did. You know how hard it is to give you credit, but I do remember the one or two that you had.
Yeah, there wasn't very many. A couple of them.
I can't. They're not too hard to find. Hey, I appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you here maybe tomorrow. Okay, bud.
All right,
bye. That's Scott Sutton, assistant coach here at Oklahoma State, and.